Hi, Veronica. Thank you so much for coming on the Power Women Wellness podcast. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. I am doing great. I'm very excited. I have a feeling we're going to cover some great topics. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, I love that you're a badass woman and you love building things, as we were just talking about before we started recording. So I can't wait to dive into your routines and what you do to take care of yourself to show up every single day. So before we get started, tell me more about what do you do now for your career? What led you into it? All the good background stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I had normal dreams growing up of I just want to go into my dream job, which was news reporting. And I grew up with an entrepreneur as a father. And once I was in my career, I recognized, oh my God, I have no freedom. I have no money. I'm broke. I hate my boss. And I think it was like a instantaneous decision where my heart was telling me this is not what's for you. But I had never done business. I had never worked for myself. And during that time, my sister came to me and she pitched me on this network marketing idea, this like affiliate sales, like you partner with a company, you sell for them, and you build a sales force, which I think that's the most important part because when you could build a sales force, you can scale. I like money.
If you know how to do sales, you can do anything.
Girl. So that's almost like bad when you know that. When you find out your power, now you're like, well, what do I even really want to do? Because I can do anything.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I had that shift in 2018. I started working with this company and I just really scaled it. And I was able to scale it for a few reasons. Number one, I've always been a person who really cared about how I show up. So I had built a reputation throughout my life of Veronica is always succeeding. Since I was a little girl, all my friends' moms were like, oh my God, you're so smart. You're so good at cheer. You're all this. And then right when I graduated college, I was the first person to get my job in the newsroom, which is very hard. Like the industry of news, a lot of people don't get jobs.
I bet.
It's very limited. And, then when I decided to do this, I decided to do what I do best, which is I always think of this quote, how you do anything is how you do everything. So I just said, okay, I have the ability to build a business through selling a product. And I did that. And
Nice.
I had huge milestones. By 25 years old, made my first million, which opened my eyes to how
Amazing.
different, girl, I used to make 2 years prior to that, $24,000 a year.
Wow.
Okay. That was my annual salary before. When you have that kind of drastic shift unfold in your life, you recognize that nothing is as bad as you think, everything can change, and nothing
For
is
sure.
permanent. And I think that experience really helped me figure out my power. And I started building a brand online and just being very authentic. And I think that my authenticity is what makes my connections, So, of course, you do some influencer work on the side, but you build this following of people that trust you and love you. So, earlier this year, for since 2020, 2 years now, I had my podcast where I was giving people, all this mindset, mind, body, soul content. And people were constantly telling me, hey, I want you to mentor me, not in the network marketing space, just like in life. And it took me a while to come around the idea of, wait, I'm qualified to tell someone how to live their life. And there was so much demand, like people
Yeah.
asking that finally in February, I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start mentoring people. And I was like, well, what do I call it? Am I a coach? What am I? And I came up with fulfillment mentorship because I think there is no point in living if you're not living a fulfilled life, and figuring out how to find that fulfillment in the small moments through the journey, through the hardships is so important. So now, I still do network marketing. I still have my podcast. I still do some influencer work. I'm a little bit of everything, as we discussed. I've got
Yeah.
my mentees that I mentor in life, and always just looking to expand. For me, I think one of the best ways that I move is through inspired action. So, what is inspiring me in this moment in my life, and just giving it my all and going all in.
I love that. I love that. And it's nothing wrong with being a little bit of everything. Because I think for a personality like yours too, you crave some newness, some difference, not always doing the same thing every single day. And for the rest of your life, you want to spice it up a little bit. I love that.
And that's so important that you noted that, because society wants to tell you that you have to be one thing and you're not
Yeah.
allowed to change your mind. And
What
if
you want to be for the rest of your life.
exactly, if I didn't have the courage to not care what society thought, what would have happened is that I would have stayed in that news reporting job that I was miserable in. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of people are in this situation where they know that where they're at is not it, but they're too afraid to pivot because what are people going to think? Oh my God, am I going to be a quitter? It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
anyone thinks. At the end of the day, we all have an expiration date. And
Yeah.
that is what makes me follow my heart, is knowing I'm going to die. We're all going to die. So what is the point of being in this earth, having a miserable experience because you're not following your heart? You're not
Yeah.
going with your intuition. So you could be whatever you want to be, is what I believe.
I love how you put that, because I think that's probably something most of us kind of shove to the side. And we think that, I know that we all know that the next day isn't guaranteed, but we definitely live like, oh, I'll just do it next week. Oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. Or, oh, I'll just, start following my dream in 10 years. I just need to get set, whatever it is. And I think sometimes we need that realization again of like, we can absolutely die tomorrow. Am I doing everything that like, I would be happy that this is like my last day.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah. My fiance always tells me, so I'm Hispanic and he's German. So imagine opposite cultures, right? But anytime that I get spicy with him, he literally looks at me and he's like, what if I die tomorrow? Tell me how that changes my attitude in 0.5 seconds. Because it's true. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, what a reality check. It's like, this moment is so precious. Like, let me not be unpleasant. Let me love on you real quick. So tip for anyone.
I'm only laughing because in some scenarios I'd be like, great.
Oh no,
Wonderful.
I'm so like a person of fact that I'm just like, wait, no, that's true. So he cracked the code because it works on me. Like
That's
100%.
awesome. You can ask my husband. I would probably sometimes say, great, see ya in heaven. Of course, I think it depends on how heated I am. But share with me walk us through your morning routine. So this is everything from the moment you wake up, what are you drinking? What are you eating? What are you doing for your mindset? Just like, what are you doing in the morning that really sets your day?
100%. So everyone always wants to talk about a morning routine. And I think that the most important thing is, or has been for me in my journey, is I learned through Joe Dispenza that when you wake up, your brain is in this brainwave that allows you to manifest more easily. So I do this every single morning when my conscious recognizes that I'm awake. I start implanting very feel good emotions, pictures in my mind. And sometimes I look at everything that I've achieved and I was like, what makes me different than other people? I'm only 27 and I've got so many things that people pray for and wish for, and it's like that I actually see it in my head and I believe that I can accomplish it. So visualization is like, you have to see it before you can ever achieve it.
Yeah.
And doing that in the beginning of my day, and it's passively, it's not like I sit there and I put a timer for 30 minutes. No, you just wake up and you start like envisioning like this next stage of your life with all the things that you desire and all the feelings that you desire. And it's funny because we just moved to Fort Lauderdale and we
Oh, you
live.
did? You moved because you were in Europe.
Yeah, we were in Germany. And then I kickstarted this new business and I had to be in East Coast time zone because I was going crazy with the time difference. So we're back. Like I have the ocean view here. It's gorgeous. And then on this other side, I have the intercoastal. And on the intercoastal, you have all these huge, beautiful mansions. And for me, it's like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like imagining this, visualizing it. And I truly believe that I'll have one of those dream homes on the water. And I just envision my business and I envision all these different things. So that to me is something that's so small because it's not like, oh, like, let me journal, let me do. No, it's something so small. It's in my mind, but it's so powerful. I used to always imagine myself in a G-Wagon pulling up to a house. And like all that came true last year. And when
I
I
love
was
that.
actually in my G-Wagon pulling up to a house, I was like, wait, I've seen this so many times before.
Wow.
And the power of visualization is just so powerful, right? So that's number one. Um, Number two, I will say I am not an alarm setter. I am not that kind of person. My sweet spot of waking up is usually like 8 a.m. And
Nice.
my fiance is a morning kind of guy. He wakes up at like 6 a.m., but my most productive hours are in the evening. So
Nice.
sometimes I'll want to work until midnight, and some people would be like, oh my God, that's so wrong. And I believe
No.
that too, you know. But then I got into my human design. Not sure if anyone's into that.
A couple of people have mentioned it on the podcast, so I think it's like trending right now.
Yeah, well, in my human design, it very clearly states like and someone else that I had worked with, this like spiritual healer kind of person, had told me, like, Veronica, you are like, your being is most active and productive and creative in the evening and nighttime.
Wow.
So I think that sleep is so important. And I cannot express that enough. Like when I get enough sleep, I wake up feeling amazing. My skin is glowing. Like it's so different than when you're not sleeping. So,
Yeah.
number one is before even waking up, like make sure that you're sleeping good. And if you
Yeah.
have a job and you don't have the luxury like me that I could wake up at 8 a.m., then just prioritize the night before. Like stop watching the Netflix, stop doing the
Yeah.
thing keeping you up. I actually just found a series on Netflix, and I'm a girl who does not watch Netflix, and it was so toxic. Like you don't understand. I was
Oh, it's so bad. I mean, even things that, I mean, it melts your brain, but it's quite entertaining. Even stuff like the reality shows nowadays, like Love is Blind, like just, oh my gosh, I cringe, but you can't stop watching
That's
the
why I'm
train
like,
wreck.
don't even get into it. Like I fell off the Netflix bus a long time ago. And we just, for the first time, I think for the first time in 4 years, I have a TV in my bedroom. And I was like scrolling. I found this show called Manifest, and the toxicity was so real that I was like, I'm gonna binge watch it so that I could finish it and never turn on Netflix again. Whatever. So anyways, guys, main point that I want to get is get your hours of sleep, because that's when your body regenerates. And anytime I miss sleep, I am very just like uneasy, jittery, etc. I wake up after I visualize, etc., and I always like to drink lemon water. It's something that just makes me feel good. I've been struggling with my skin for a couple years, and I just feel like it cleanses me in the morning. I
Yeah.
love it. And I will tell you, I am a coffee girl. Okay.
Yes.
I know it's not popular, but I love my coffee. It makes me feel good. And then gym time. Like I don't like my
Nice.
mornings to be hectic. I don't like my mornings I don't work in the morning. I know it's a different lifestyle for some people. Some people have to work in the morning, but this is what I bust my butt for, to
Yeah.
be an entrepreneur and to not have a boss and to work on my time. So, as far as like supplements that I take, things change as, I find something new, or if I like it.
Yeah.
Oil of oregano has been something that I consistently go to. I feel like my body has a hard time detoxing things. And I feel like anything that is like antiviral or cleansing, it makes me feel good. Lately I've been getting into the fulvic acid trend. Not sure
Yeah.
if, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I'm curious to
I
know.
it's a great, it's in different binders that we use that, is really helpful for people who are going through something that need extra binding or just trouble detoxing. So usually there's like a combination of like fulvic and humeric acid. So no, it's good. It's good. I've always struggled on finding the research though. But I mean, just the evidence, and I mean, there has to be some type of research because it's, in so many supplements and it's touted so much. But I don't know, I've just struggled finding the research because I'm always like an evidence-based person. Like,
Yeah. I'm going to
what
send it to you because
perfect.
I found this company that they like put all the research out there, which was why I finally bought it. Because I
Ooh,
had heard people talk about it, and my fiance was taking Shugnite. I believe that's what it's called. Oh no, Shilajit. Shilajit.
Yes, yes, I've heard that.
Wait, isn't Shugnite like a stone? I don't know. Anyways, but it was Shilajit. And when I saw him take it, he always does his research. So I'm like, okay, if I'm seeing it online a lot and now he's taking it, like, let me figure out what's going on. So yeah, for me, my mornings, it's like, I don't believe that you need to do a 10-step routine to be active. And I think that as an entrepreneur, and what I preach to my team, to my sales force, is like, look, you got to take action in your life, and you got to figure out, what are you trying to accomplish, and what is the most important thing for you to do? Like, what takes priority,
Yeah.
So my days are very different. I have the luxury of that, and I'm grateful. Today after the gym, we went to go see like a wedding venue, and um,
Oh,
it's nice. It's nice. It's nice. And I think it's good for your being to do things that you don't hate.
yeah.
So if you are someone that's in a job and you dread it, like, that's just so toxic to your health.
Yeah.
Like, if you would see a picture of me in 2018, you would not believe that it's the same girl. Like, I
Wow.
just look so different. And the difference is that I'm happy, is that I decided to build a life that I actually loved. I'm with a partner who fills my heart with happiness every day. I, work a business that gives me exactly what I want. I have healthy friendships and relationships. Like, I put myself in healthy environments. So I'm not a huge fan of, this is what you need to do in the morning. I just think you need to get up in the morning and have a plan, like, go and
Yeah.
execute your life, make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. I know you mentioned you exercise. So what's your go-to favorite thing to do?
We are weightlifters in my house.
Yes.
And I wasn't before. I will tell you, it's my boyfriend, fiance now. He is a weights guy. And when I started dating him, prior to that, I was a hit bunny. And like,
Mm.
I was constantly going to these hit 1 hour long, leaving drenched. I like to go hard. Remember when I told you how you do how you do everything? It's like with everything in life. But girl, my body would not change. It's like I
Yeah.
was working out so hard, but I wasn't seeing these big changes. And Marcus started telling me, he's like, well, you're putting your body in these high stressful situations every single day. It's like counterproductive to
Yeah.
having a healthy body. Like, you shouldn't be doing hit all the time. So I switched over to weight training in 2020, and it's the best thing I ever
Yep.
did.
Ditto. I love strength training. I hate cardio. Yeah, I always tell people, if you see me running on the side of the road, help me because I'm probably something's coming after me. I am such a lover of weights, and I think it's so important, especially as we age, and it's like the secret to anti-aging.
Yes.
So I love it. I'm with you.
And we
Um,
do bike ride to the gym, like, which
oh,
is it's a great combo, because I
it
always
is.
used to do some cardio in the beginning. I like the way cardio feels. I'm like, it's a mental challenge, and I just feel
Yes.
my heart being tried, which I really enjoy. But now, just, we're right on the beach in Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale, and bike ride to the
Oh my
gym. You get
gosh.
there, you're warmed up. It's amazing.
Oh,
But
I love that.
yeah, guys, it's just something you have to prioritize. I used to
Yeah.
be the kind of person who would go a month working out hard and then think about it. And now it's just a habit.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, it's because I'm too busy with work on that specific day, but it's a priority.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. And tell us give us an insight on, what do you eat in a day? Like breakfast, lunch, dinner, what are your go-tos? We always love to see it. Obviously, everyone's so different, but I love to hear what other people are eating.
Well, I need to give you guys some background on who I'm going to marry, because my fiance, when we met, he was actually my health coach, pretty much. We
Oh,
went on a Tinder date, and then he lived in Germany, so we ended up becoming friends, and then he became like my health coach, and he started helping me with my health. So he's already someone that, like, our house, nothing bad is allowed, right? Aside from helping people holistically, he also does a few other things that are more into the field. So he's definitely someone that would not be dating a woman that didn't take care of herself. So by
yeah,
default, I always wanted to take care of myself. So being with him helped me a ton.
Oh. Is he the cook?
He's the cook, 100%.
I
And
love that.
he's so good. Like, oh my God, he's so fast that it blows my mind. I'm like, if I were to do what you did, it would take me like an hour and a half, and he does it in 15 minutes. But we
Oh my
are
gosh.
protein rich, like lots of protein. So usually before going to the gym, we don't eat. We'll have our first meal. Usually depends how busy our day is and what calls we have, but usually in between like 12:30 and 2 p.m. We'll have our first meal, and it is usually eggs, gluten-free toast, avocado, and then we put like mushrooms, tomatoes in there, right? I don't eat dairy because it's not good for me. Like it really makes my skin go crazy, but he does. So anyways, after that, we'll have like one other meal, and it's usually chicken, a ton of chicken with veggies and rice
Nice.
and maybe a salad. So like we eat the same thing over and over again. But it's
Simple.
delicious. It's
Yeah.
simple and it's yummy and it's nutritious. And now that we eat at home so much, like when I go out to eat at restaurants, like your body's sending you
Yeah.
signals. If you're consistent with your body and you're treating it good,
Yeah.
often when you don't treat it good, it's like warning signs, right?
Yeah.
If you're constantly treating your body bad, you won't even recognize how
Yeah.
horrible the things are for you.
Yeah.
But main things that we do, like we rarely ever have sugar. I mean, we'll have dessert once in a blue moon if we go out to eat. Gluten, we don't really eat. Any alternatives are always gluten free. And we don't really like alternatives because some of them aren't too healthy, but we found this one at Aldi's that he loves. So that's our toast. Nothing fried. So anything that's like French fries, all of that, he's super against. So here I am. I don't eat fried food either. But yeah, overall, just being cautious of okay, how much veggies are we
Yeah.
eating and how much protein.
Yeah.
Eat
Oh,
stuff
I
that
love
makes you
that.
feel good. Yeah.
And then coffee is your drink of the morning. Is there any other drinks that you love throughout the day?
Soda water.
That's love. Oh, I've never
This
seen that
is
brand.
from Aldi. Like, no, I literally have two cans here. We go through them so much. And grapefruit soda water, sugar-free everything, no
Oh, I
calories.
love that.
And that's it. We don't buy juices,
Yeah,
nothing.
I'm
Bland
with you.
people. I don't drink alcohol either. Well, he hasn't drank for 10 years, then got me into not drinking. And
That's
that is the
amazing.
biggest game changer. Like,
Yeah.
hello, like following audience, listen to
Yeah.
this because alcohol is not doing anything positive for us. Like when you actually think about it, it's nothing. There's nothing positive. Even like the fun that you think you have, some people get angry when they're drunk, some people get sleepy when they're drunk. Like, is the fun really that much fun? And, so I hadn't drank for a hot minute. And when we got engaged, about a month ago, my brother-in-law was there and he was having an old fashioned, and we were in like this beautiful restaurant in Malibu. I just got engaged and I was like, I'm gonna have a drink. So I got this old fashioned and it was, oh my God, it was delicious. So last week actually, we were in New York and we were in the Edge, this beautiful building with a view. It was freezing and they were selling old fashions like right next to me. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to have one, reminiscing on Malibu. And I just felt so silly. Like I was losing my motor skills. Like I was like one drink in and I was like, either this was really strong or something's happening, but I was trying to act normal. So my man who doesn't drink wasn't like being like, you see, but I was sort of a little tipsy and thinking about like, this feels a little weird. I'm trying not to slur my words. I'm talking to people and trying to act normal. Like, what's the point of this? I'm such a fun person. I don't really need
Yeah.
all. Once in a while, it's nice for a celebration, but yeah, we
Yeah.
were talking today that even for a wedding, we might do a sober wedding because
Oh
it's
my
a good
gosh, I love that.
representation of us. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I'm with you. I've never been drunk in my life. I just never really overcame the peer pressure that usually people develop the desire for drinking through that peer pressure in high school and college. And I just never really succumbed to that. I was a young mom. I really didn't have time to, but I also just don't like the taste. I think it's so gross. But I think people are so afraid to because it's so normalized. And like you said, when you think about it, and it's literally drinking poison. And I was actually just talking to my son, he's 12. And he's like, I'm never getting drunk. And I was like, I don't know, he's still so young. I hope not though. And I was telling him though, like when people are hungover, that is because they've literally drank so much poison that their body is expelling and trying to get it out of the body. I'm like, and from a child's point of view, he was like, why would people do that? I'm like, I don't know. Okay. That's the whole like point is like, I have no idea. But it's like, even if, you're a drinker, you can always change that. And like you said, there's so much on the other side of like being sober and how you feel. It's really incredible. It's like so worth it.
How much money you're going to save too. Like,
True.
hello, let me highlight this, guys. In Miami, Fort Lauderdale, South Florida area where I'm at, a drink will be from $15 to $25, depending on the restaurant that you go to. And sometimes, I go out to eat with other friends that drink, and I just like look at the tab and I'm like, if you guys were sober like us, this would have been so much cheaper.
It's
Guys,
so
you're gonna save money, you're gonna save your health, you're gonna have more time because you're not gonna have to spend time being hungover. You're gonna be making
clarity
relationships because you're not drunk when you're out. You're actually, in your right mind. That could be good for business. It's like the pros just heavily outweigh the cons. So it's a personal thing where you just got to sit with yourself and say, why do I love alcohol so much?
Yeah.
And I do that.
And I'm the personality too, where whatever everyone is doing, I'm usually doing the opposite. Like I hate following the herd. I honestly get highs with everything in every regard. That's just me. So whatever everyone's doing, I'm probably over here doing the opposite.
Yeah. No, I was a party girl. Like, so this is from one party girl to the next. Like I was going to clubs in high school and drinking in sorority. Like I lived that life, and then I just compared both lives and I was like, wait, this other one serves me better.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, awesome. And then tell us more about, I know you do visualization, but is there any other mindset work that you've done in the past or that you currently still do that help you?
I just think it's so important to learn from people that are already in the spaces that you want to be in. And when I started, transforming my life and truly shifting, I was listening to so many podcasts. It's like every single podcast from Ed Milet. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's a businessman who also has a podcast. He's incredible because his heart is just so huge. You could hear it through the screen. I follow some people that are strictly business, but he's business and heart and health and all of this. So, I loved him. Joe Dispenza, teaching me how to rewire my mind just absolutely shifted my life, recognizing the power of your thoughts, learning this information and recognizing, wait, this is true. And all you have to do is think about when was the last time you were sad or upset or depressed? And what happens? The more you say, I am this, and the more you feed that, the longer it lasts. And if you feel in a funk and you're able to recognize the funk and you're able to tap into gratitude and say, okay, the funk came and I'm going to let it pass, but I'm going to shift my focus to change my life. So powerful. Yeah. Another resource, Gaia. I love Gaia. GAIA for those of you guys listening. It's like a Netflix, but for like mindset, spirituality. So putting yourself in the right rooms. And last summer, I worked with a mentor in Germany, and she's someone who had previously worked with my fiance, but she had worked with a few other really big entrepreneurs, and she's through him, like he just told me, he was like, look, if you work with her, like she'll change your life. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like my life's already good. I'm young, I'm making money. I think I got my mindset right. But his words were so powerful that I was like, okay, let me explore this. I got on a phone call with this woman and she blew my mind. And it's hard for people to blow my mind. because I find motivation from myself. I don't really need people to tell me how to live or what to do. So I was just so impressed that she said so little, but said so much.
Wow.
So I ended up hiring her, and she was very expensive, very expensive. Like everyone thought I was crazy hiring her, but it was so worth it because what she taught me changed the rest of my life. Like before working with her, I had such issues with love and intimacy and relationships, and she completely dismantled all those issues that I had. And now my relationship is so good because I worked with this woman.
Wow.
Well, I'm having a wedding of like 30 people and she's invited. Um,
I
and
love that.
that's just to say that you need to learn from other people who just are wiser than you and have more experience, and being humble enough to always be the student and
Yeah.
always seek for more knowledge and ask for advice, ask for feedback, even from the people closest to you that are around you that see you every day. Like, hey, how do you think I could do better, like in any area?
Yeah.
So when it comes to my mindset, I just never believe that I know it all. And I'm always on a mission to continue learning. And that's always what I recommend.
Yeah. We're forever students for sure. I know you mentioned some podcasts. So what are some of your favorite podcasts, or books that are like classics you always tune into, you always reread?
Yeah, so I am obsessed. So, just a little background to you all. I am very spiritual. And before, I used to go to like church every Sunday, Christian church. But there was just parts of me that always longed to understand this world and like, what are we doing here? And, how does
Yeah.
everything work? And I just always found that religion had a missing link. And I found this book that just changed my life because it felt like truth in my heart. And, I was Catholic and then I was Christian. And I even like looked into every other religion, trying to figure out like, what is the truth? Because some of them just feel so off. And I read the book Conversations with God. It's
Mm.
4 books. And I just think that if you want to thrive in any area in your life, you have to understand your relationship with where you came from and your creator. And it's something that now people are talking about more, but it's so
Yeah.
taboo. Like, oh, I don't want to talk about religion because, like, or it's not even religion, it's like spirituality. It's like
Yeah.
God is like, do we really think that we just showed up in this planet? Like, what is the backstory?
Yeah.
So that book just puts so many things into perspective, and it just changed
Oh,
my life.
I will be ordering.
Girl, after I read that book, I walked away from that multi-million dollar business that I had built, which probably
Wow.
was in everyone's eyes crazy. But in my heart, I knew I had to follow my heart to continue expanding. And I
Yeah.
couldn't sell my soul to man-made things.
Yeah.
And this
He's got your back too.
Yes. And this book just reminded me of so many things that I needed to hear in order to keep ascending on my journey.
Yeah.
And let's see which other Joe Dispenza,
Yeah.
he was a little bit later in my life. I mean, sorry, a little uh before, how do I say it? Earlier in my life when I found him, it was probably 2019, 2020. But Becoming Supernatural, oof, very big book, heavy read. But I recommend, if you don't like to read, at least watch his series Rewired on Gaia. Like, so impactful. When it comes to business, I just, I think that people just need to think big. And I really love Donald Trump's book, Think Big. And sometimes when I'm like in a funk of like not wanting to continue, I just go back to that book and I'm like, yo, this man has achieved a lot. Whether you like him or not, you can't
Yeah.
change facts.
Yeah.
Whether you're for
Yeah.
him, against him, like he's achieved a lot. So I love
Yeah.
learning, how I said, from people that have done it. Grant Cardone, his 10X book, like
Yeah.
all these people that are like these huge figures. And these huge figures are going to piss people off. They're
Always.
not meant to be liked,
Yeah.
right? It's almost like repulsive. Like, why do you have so much?
Well,
Why?
I think that's an insecurity of others.
Yes.
more than anything. Let's be honest, whether it's maybe a little bit of jealousy or insecurity of like, why deep down, like, why can't I be like that? Or I want that, but I can't do it, in quotes. Yeah, it's just an insecurity of other people typically, and it shouldn't be. I'm like you. I'm like, I love learning from people who have made it, who I can learn from, because we are all students in every regard. And yeah, and I also think there's a stigma, especially with Christianity. And I think we see that in people who are Christians, but they have a lot, and maybe they have a lot of material stuff. And I don't know, I just think, I don't know, everyone's a little different, but I think that there's just a stigma of, if you were Christian, that you shouldn't have that, in a sense. You
Yeah.
should be giving. And I don't believe that. I mean, I believe in giving. I love giving. I slightly obsessed with giving, but I also want the material mansion, house, and that's okay. And so I think that's something too that I've had to develop over the years, of just trusting my desires. Yes, I'm not living for it. Yes, that's not what my idol, but do I want to live this life, this one life I have, to the fullest? Like, absolutely. And I think, if anything, that's a gift from God. I don't look at that as something I idolize.
Yeah.
So
And even just like, well, if other people are living that life, why should you not have the chance to live that life?
yeah,
It makes no sense. So this book, I really want you to read it,
I
Conversations with God.
I'm totally gonna order it, like, right when we
Because,
get off.
oh my God, like so many of the things that made no sense, because I love Christianity. If there's one religion that I really feel called to, it is Christianity. But there are some things that just physically make no sense. If you're someone that's putting love at the forefront, like, is love truly the highest of emotions? Well, then it's a lot of contradictions. And so, to give you a long story short, in this book, the man that wrote the book, Neil Donald Walsh, he says that he was writing a letter to God, and then he just like channeled God, and he was like asking questions to God, and then God was just responding, and he was just writing, and this went on for like 2 years, and he made 4 books out of it. And it's up to each individual person, like, are you going to believe that God spoke to a random man? Well, that's how the Bible was created.
Yeah, why not? I think he speaks to us all the time.
Exactly. So for me, when I read this book, it's really funny because the book will tell you multiple times over and over again through the different, because it's 4 of them, through the different books. If you're reading this book, it's because it's your time. Like, it's found you finally. This book had been calling me for since 2020. I had a mentor who told me, Veronica, you need to read this book. Forgot, didn't do it, whatever. 2019, actually. And it was this summer when I was in Germany. I sat down to eat with someone, and the girl mentioned the book. And I was like, you know what? I have to read this book. And I finally picked it up. I read it at the perfect time, and it helped me so much with the decisions that I had to make with my life.
Wow.
So, I don't get commission for selling it, but I think it's an amazing book.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. And let's see. I think that's about it for our questions. So tell us, where can we find you? Where can people connect with you? Where can we get your energy?
Yes, definitely. So guys, I am huge on Instagram. Like, that's my focus. And I think it has to change because clearly there are other platforms that are performing a lot better right now. But on Instagram, I am the Veronica Bay Show. Bay is BAY. That is that is the name of my podcast as well. So I am on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Um, on my podcast, I talk about lessons that I've learned in my life. So it's very just focused on, every time I learn something, I want to share it, because if I went through it, someone else is going to go through it. And that's what life is. It's like, if
Yeah.
you could check yourself every single day, if you could find what good and bad came out of every single decision you made, it's no longer pointing the fingers externally, but more so looking within and saying, how can I move with more intention to get more of the life that I desire? So that's my message. And on my Instagram, every single day that I have a thought, I just go on, I post it. But yeah, you'll find links in my bio. My fulfillment mentorship program has been on a pause. I'm not taking new clients at the moment, but that should be opening up now in 2023. So
Perfect.
that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, girl, for coming and hanging out with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.